Recently, I was asked by a producer from GB News to be on Nigel Farage's TV show to discuss the US elections. Obviously, I turned it down because, well, you never saw me on GB News. But I really want to talk about my thought process going into denying it. Now, my immediate reaction was, this is a bad idea, and I would have advised my clients or anyone in general to not do this, because entering a far-right space that you do not control the space, the narrative, how it's going to be used, or anything really, is incredibly dangerous. And even if you're an incredible debater and you're on your game, that does not mean that your appearance will not result in what they want in the first place, which is making good TV so that they get clicks and they can make themselves appear as not only a legitimate interlocutor, so someone you go against, but also reasonable. Because more often than not, the far right, when they're inviting leftists on their show, they're trying to present themselves as, well, look, we're just regular people in politics too, and we're able to even have this nice chummy debate between me and someone on my extreme opposition. And what does that really get us other than normalizing and mainstreaming the far right? A lot of liberal and leftist content creators think that they can actually go onto right-wing spaces and manage to shake people out of the reality tunnel that has been built around them by places like GB News and Fox News. But this is almost an absurd position, because even if you're able to pull 1 or 2 or 20 people out of it, you have to also remember, you as an influencer are also bringing your audience to them, because your audience will follow you to see what you said on that channel. And that brings them your audience. And you have to think, how many of your audience are now being trained to think that this content producer, GB News, whoever, is a reasonable source, a place that actually will allow, leftists to debate openly, unlike the mainstream media, makes them seem to be more reasonable than they actually are. And that is the incipient thing, the clever trick they are pulling upon every single leftist and liberal who thinks that they can use the far-right channels for their own end. No, you being there is you being used by the far-right for their ends, and you will never win this because the battlefield is asymmetric, and you are playing with sticks and they're playing with nuclear weapons. I even allowed myself to be my own devil's advocate, to give myself the most selfish possible justification for going on his show, and all I came to the conclusion was at the end of the day, this will do nothing materially for me. It'll make a bunch of my followers disrespect me and think that I'm just a grifter like everyone else. I'll hate myself because I will have breached my own ethical values. And more importantly, even if I do really, really, really well, I've just made incredibly good content for Nigel Farage that has no benefit to me at all. And what it does do is let a whole bunch of far-right people know that I exist, which is something I'm already not so keen on. As someone who creates content for a political purpose, I want to present news and information, history and knowledge in a way that's highly detailed and from my political point of view, because I believe that democratic values and socialist ideas are a good thing. And I do not think the best place to do that is across the table from a man who spent several months trying to get Donald Trump elected. A man who egged on race riots just a couple of months ago. A man who represents all of the things that are bad about the United Kingdom. But so many people from so many, especially UK left-wing groups, seem to think it's okay to not only go on his show, but go on the far-right shows in general, instead of doing what they really need to do, which is build their own parallel media and cultural structures so that they can equally compete with the far right. Not try to be a sponge off of their sweaty droppings, hoping that, oh, maybe I'll convince someone in their audience that they're completely wrong, which is a ridiculous and hubristic way to approach things. Why do you think you will be able to do that when so many people have failed in that exact same attempt? And why do you think they would allow you to do that if you were actually successful? They're not going to invite you back. You are only there because you are part of the theater they are performing. Your role is to legitimize them. You are a character in a play. And if you can't realize that, well, you're just getting played completely. Thank you.